So at 57 years old, it wasn't until last year, the end of last year, November of last year, that I realized that this theory that I had was not going to come into fruition. And I used to have this theory, and I used to have this belief. Always leave room for a woman to come into your life and give your house that woman's touch. So I'm gonna give you an example. When I brought my house, I met this woman lived across the street. And this woman came to my house, seen that I didn't have no dishes, went back across the street and brought me a whole dish set. I still have that dish set to today. I think I should throw it away, as I did this woman that I was trying to date for 10 years. All the things that she gave me a helmet for my scooter. She gave me these beads. She gave me I deleted all her pictures out of my phone. I get rid of the woman's energy. And this woman was the woman that taught me, and this is primarily who this video is about. Now, I respect her, so I'm not going to say her name, but she taught me what you're never going to get from a modern woman. So this woman that used to live across the street from me, again, she came in my house, seen that I didn't have no dishes, and she went back across the street and brought me a whole complete dish set. I'm talking plates, bowls, cups, and unfortunately she had no follow through, so that didn't work out. But after owning my house for 5 years, I finally realized that no woman was going to come and give my house that woman's touch. And no woman was coming because women no longer exist. I now understand, from dealing with this woman for almost 10 years, firsthand, the hatred scale perspective that these women have. They try to play it off like they are just independent, but something happened to them where they have to put up all these perspectives and narratives against the men. Now, I was dealing with this woman for almost 10 years. So she's seen me on my highs and my lows. She's seen it, and still it meant nothing. That is another perspective that I'm gonna get to in this video later on. But when you want to test a woman, you will see just how much she is a woman when she can come and see where you're rough around the edges and give you that woman's touch. She can give you that woman's touch. My house needed a woman's touch. I don't know how to interior decorate. So I had to go, after I realized that this is not going to happen, because dealing with this woman for 10 years, all she did was came to my house, and it was almost like she came to my house in disgust. She came to my house because now I understand, as a modern woman, aka a feminist, their perspective and narrative is, if you have a house that is 1,500 square feet, it should have been 1,750 square feet. When you're dealing with a woman that is a feminist, nothing, and I mean nothing you can do is good enough. And that is what they tell themselves. It's like, you ever watch a radio? You ever have a digital radio, and that digital radio is looking for a station? That digital radio is looking for a station, and it goes to one station, then the things scrabble 105.5, then scrabble 97.2, then scrabble 96.1. That's how it is when you're dealing with a modern woman. This woman that I was dealing with for almost 10 years taught me that. It's like you can say you brought a convertible, and they'll be like, wow, even with her exact words, I never drove in a convertible, but my convertible was too small. As if to say, like, my body takes up enough space for this seat. It don't matter if I didn't have a passenger seat. It didn't matter if it didn't matter if I didn't have rear seats. I don't need that space, and that I don't occupy that space. so I don't need it. But this is how a modern woman thinks. A modern woman's perspective is, you are never good enough, because they don't like men anyway. So it ain't like you could say my best efforts and everything is now I'm in the class to attract a woman. You will never be able to be on a scale to attract a modern and a feminist woman. And this woman was both, right? So what I did was last year, I decorated my entire house on my own. My taste, things that I wanted, things that I seen and brought, and my house doesn't have a woman's touch. But when people come into my house, they jaw drop. Wow, it's nice in here. Wow, you got a beautiful house. Wow. And no part of it is a woman's touch. So the perspective and narrative that I tried to put forward, it just never came into fruition. And I'm glad. Because when you try and when you try to marry a traditional method to modern times, you will always be at a negative deficit. You always be at a negative deficit. Always. So this is what you guys got to understand. You will always be at a negative deficit. I'm going to tell you right now, I am so glad and I am so happy that everything turned out the way it did. The amazing thing about this woman is, you know, I'm gonna tell you what I learned, what she taught me. This individual taught me so much about black women, because I have never dealt with a low-tier black woman. Atia LaShawn Bradley, you guys heard me say a lot of stuff about Atia, but what you can't ever hear me say is Atia is a hoe. You will never hear me say Atia ain't shit. I can't say that. Atia graduated from Seton Hall University with a graduate and an undergrad at the same time. She was taking two. She graduated with 2 degrees at the same time, right? So, but what this woman taught me, she taught me so many levels of disdain and the hatred that women have towards men. She taught me. I mean, I remember when I had my Toyota Sienna van, and she had to take her brother back. She had to take her brother back to college and rented a van. It is just amazing. The hatred was right there in my face, and I didn't even see it. I went 10 years trying to love a feminist. It is amazing. That woman would come to my house, you know, and I'm gonna say this. If you ask her, she would say he's hurt about and he hate women. But a feminist and a modern woman will never understand and never try, and they will never understand the origins of your pain. So that's why they will always discount what you're saying. They don't see they will never register your hurt. They will never register your hurt. They will never register your pain. They won't do that, because then they would have to understand you. And so I'm gonna tell y'all the parallels to this. This woman was a renter. Wasn't a homeowner. She received $200,000 or something, or something to that nature when her stepmom sold the house. She didn't tell me, but I knew. I mean, I went and helped her move. I'm surprised. I think she just wanted to show me the house, because she never needed my help for nothing. She was a modern woman. And I said, when they sell this house, she said it was paid off when her father was passed away. So I knew it was all profit, but she never told me. She never told me nothing about her. I know she was hurt. I know she was touched as a child. She got molested or something. Something happened to her, because she's fucked up. Nonetheless, but she would tell me how the job this and the job that. And she would tell me how the when it was time to renew the lease, this, that. And I equated that complaining to the same level of what I did. Every time she had a problem, I tried to help her out. I told her a lot of things, and she never gave me one sentence of support from my pain. Not one. That woman never gave me one sentence. Not one. Not, I got them in my short time I got to meet you. I don't see how anybody, you never showed me none of this, nothing. I had numerous women tell me this. I had about 3 or 4 women tell me. I don't see how you went through what you went through. You the best. I had one woman tell me, again, I had a woman tell me, you'll always have problems with women. She said, you honest, you don't lie. Because of that, you'll always have problems with women. And just going back to what I'm saying, it is, listen, I am happy that we didn't make it, because I believe she would have gotten up one day and hit me with a I'm not happy. So I'm gonna tell you a couple of things that you got to understand about a modern woman. A modern woman will never ever tell and talk to you about nothing. They'll talk to you things in second perspective. So one time, because she's a modern woman, and it's amazing how they don't realize how trashy they sound, and they don't realize how much of a piece of shit they are. She told me she was talking to her uncle, and her uncle was like, hit her with that old, you just need to get married. And she was like, my uncle told me I have to submit to a man. I told him we're gonna have to talk about that. Tell me when you gotta take a shit. Why you tell me that? It is amazing how I have so much. It is amazing how my morals are so high that I don't snap back at people when I read their little stabs. But when I do videos like this, I help them understand, because now I realize that she is a straight piece of shit. I realize that now. I realized that she was nothing but a little kid in the brain. She was nothing but a little kid. These individuals run around here and act like they're grown because of this. She told me she was strong, as all these feminine run around here and they'll tell you how strong they are. Yet her white boss told her roll her sleeves and pump that shit in your arm, or bitch, take your fucking ass home. And that bitch rolled up her arms and pumped that shit in her arm. So you submitted to somebody telling you poison yourself, but you wouldn't submit to a man. This is the trash antics. This is the trash. This is why I realize now that she was nothing but 100% pure grade A trash, disguised as, I make $100,000 a year. I got degrees. I'm going back to school for this. I'm going back to school for that. Here's a woman that don't make my money. She can't make my money. But as a modern woman will sit down there and think that she gets gratitude by saying, I got a job, as opposed to saying, I got a talent. I make my money with my talent. I make my money with my talent. Nobody's in charge and hands me my money. I make it, I get it. Huh? But she's a modern woman, and modern women believe in getting a degree, and then that's where their success is, behind a degree. I will never in my life, I'm about to go to Kroger's. I'd rather go to Kroger's and deal with a $2 bitch that work at Kroger's than to deal with a modern woman or a woman that has a degree. They are the absolute worst. I realize now that, again, this woman, every time she got to renew her lease, she got to cry to her fucking landlord. she was so high on a fucking hog, and then this bitch was talking about, oh, I'm looking at a fucking a trailer home. You make $100,000+ a year and you got to buy a fucking trailer home, but you can't come to my house because my house is only 1,281 square feet, and you got to have the sisterhood says. It is amazing. It really is. It really is. I can't move back down there. She was so excellent at telling me indirectly all the things that she couldn't do. I can't move back down there. People at your job live down here. You mean to tell me a $754 mortgage with a man that you know loved you, know how quirky you are, know how arrogant you are, know not just how arrogance. The chick had more arrogance than 10 men. However, it wasn't 1% of my fucking arrogance. And it's amazing. She thinks she's going to find somebody that's going to put up with that bullshit. As I told the rest of the woman that I've dated, you'll see what I mean when you turn 50. I told her, you'll see what I mean when you turn 60. She was that fucking arrogant. But I learned. And now I don't put no trust in a woman. I don't trust no woman for nothing. I don't believe in no woman. I don't think thanks to her, I don't think a modern woman, I don't think a woman with a degree or a woman with a career, I don't think they got the capacity to be in a marriage. I don't think they got the capacity to love a man. They don't. They are absolute trash. When I met this chick, she was talking Tahoe. When I met this chick, she was talking about Michael Kors. I got a Michael Kors watch. How many of you watch? You got 6, 7. One of my watches costs more than all yours. Now she talking about, oh, I want a Lucid. So I watched you develop into high class. I was there when you met me. I was never in the low class. My first car was a fucking Caddy. I was never in the low class. But you come and you meet somebody, and the more they get confirmed with success, you see the change in them. I am so glad I didn't make it with this woman. This is why I didn't tell her when I fucked my hand up. I didn't tell her. I didn't tell her nothing because she did not have the capacity to care. Like, share, and subscribe, y'all. Leave your comment below. I will catch you on the next one.